What's going on, Jeromes? It is the bye week for the Minnesota Vikings. We had a call out for some bye week Q's and A's. Now, not gonna lie, I've been slacking on the Q&A. Sorry, that's just general laziness on my part. So we're gonna get back after it. Focused, dialed in. So first off, Kyle Gobler. Could you do a video on your all-decade team for the Vikings? All the best players of their positions from 2012 to 2022. Yes. It'll be added to things to do. Derek Baker, do you think you could convince Pizza Ranch to name a pizza combo after Kirk, e.g., hey, you like fat? Suggestion for a pizza toppings name. I feel like, are they still sponsored? Because I haven't seen, so I don't watch like a lot of TV, but I feel like I haven't seen the Kirk Pizza Ranch commercial in a long time. Maybe it's over. Which would be a Kirk pizza? Maybe not you like fat. Maybe just you like that would be a good one. Or I feel like. So what's ironic is that Kirk was sponsored by Pizza Ranch, but Kirk really leans into diet. Like Kirk is low key on the Tom Brady diet. So like no gluten, no dairy, no nightshade vegetables, no stuff like that. So basically, he can't have anything at Pizza Ranch, which is kind of funny. So I don't know. Have a dessert of avocado ice cream, and it'd be just called "You Like That." Next up, Ryan New Azada. Aloha, Jerome. Aloha. Not to sound selfish, but always keep being happy because your family wants you sharing the happiness with them as well. Oh, that sounds nice. Not to sound selfish, always keep being happy. Well, thank you. That's really good life advice. And yeah, I feel it. Obviously, we all have some down moments in life at times, but not saying fake it till you make it or just slap a smile on your face when you're not feeling it, man. But there's just something about momentum where if you put out a positive attitude and positive vibes, all of a sudden you start feeling a little bit better. Some more of those come your way. Whereas, if you're just not feeling it today, or if it's been a rough week, month, even your year, I'll be there for you. I don't know. It just seems like attracts like. And not trying to go all like The Secret on the thing, but you get more of what you put out. You know what I mean? Where trying to phrase it where it doesn't sound like new agey like BS stuff, but I don't know, like positive people. I found that positive people tend to be luckier. They tend to get more opportunities. They tend to just do better in life. And whereas negative people, no. Also, when's the last time you met someone who's extremely negative, who's really happy, and that you want to spend a lot of time with? Like, hey, you know that negative person? Yeah, go catch a flight and go hang out with them. Andrew Hansen. Just bought a pellet grill. If you use one, what is your go-to protein to cook on it, and how do you season it? So, do have one. We got a Traeger, and my go-to. I really like simple things. I'm not gonna lie. So I make okay ribs, but they're not the bee's knees. I think that you want to go with something that has a lot of forgiveness to it. You know what I mean? Where I feel like if you do a pulled pork, so a pork shoulder, put that thing on, then wrap it at a certain point. I feel like that has the most give because there's a ton of fat to it. It's really hard to screw up. Whereas things like pork ribs can be a little bit fussy. Brisket, of course, is very temperamental and needs you need to have a lot of practice under your belt to get a really good one. So yeah, I'd say pork shoulder. Jacob Householder. Oh, also freaking chicken. Chicken's fantastic on the Traeger. Seeing as Halloween is approaching, have you ever had a paranormal experience? Yeah, beyond the whole unidentified lights, up in the sky, you don't know what it is. As a kid, when I was trying to sleep in my bed, I had the door open, and in the hallway, I could like sense a presence, and I could sense like there was something there, like looking in on me. Now, it was one of those. I wasn't scared, wasn't scared about it. So it wasn't like, hey, this is an abduction going down or some sort of being who wants to do me harm. But it was just almost like an ancestor checking in on me. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I haven't had another one, but I distinctly remember this because I was like 7, 7, 8, somewhere in there. But it was like a sense of calm, a sense of like, hey, I'm good. You good? Probably. Okay. We could turn this entire thing into like a existential discussions. Like, hey, what happens after you die? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there an afterlife where like energy of the universe, or do we go into different simulations? Or I don't know, man. Next up, thought this was a football channel. Duke, in your opinion, do you think Matt Rule will still be head coach for the Carolina Panthers if they actually trade for Kirk Cousins? Yes. Yeah, I do think so, because I think Kirk would have figured things out. I think they would have won a couple of games, and he, of course, would have done better than Baker Mayfield. Tristan D. Out of all the new coaching hires, would you say Brian Daboll and Kevin O'Connell are the best ones so far? Yes. I don't like the way that Mike McDaniel handled the Tua concussion situation. And I don't know if that was his decisions or if he was getting directives from above, or I don't know what it is. I mean, the Dolphins are notorious for being just a toxic franchise. But I like Mike McDaniel, but yeah, that's a step back. I absolutely love Daboll, Canadian Santa Claus, as well as Kevin O'Connell, of course, been fantastic. Luke Stock. Isn't it interesting how delayed gratification and doing difficult or uncomfortable things in the moment is usually how to make the future better, and instant gratification makes the moment better, but makes the future worse? Yes. So talk about like saving money, passing up on the new set of kicks or the new lattes or the new blah blah blah, saving that money, paying down debt, hammering it out, stockpiling up for a rainy day because it could rain. Always could rain. Noah M. What are your top 5 travel destinations in the world? Not where you've been already, but top 5 where you want to go sometime in the future. Well, I will say Korea and Japan, even though I was born there, but of course that's been a long time. So definitely want to go back to the motherland. Want to take the kids. I want to go to Rome and like Italy writ large, because I'm a bit of a Roman history nerd. Of course, the food. Let's see where else here. I guess it's pretty basic B, but Egypt would be up there. And let's see where else. Somewhere in South America. So the Shawshank Redemption sort of blew up this spot, but Zihuatanejo, just the sleepy fishing village off the western coast of Mexico. Just the idea. So I'm a person who can't disconnect very easily. Like I need to be on the grind. I always need to be busy. Like when we go on vacations, tip, always make your vacations a day shorter than you want it to, because you're going to get bored. And also if you're in a spot for too long, like there's only so many Mai Tais and only so many like omakases you can handle. So that you, Rona? So leaving it a day short keeps you wanting more and keeps you focusing on getting to the next vacation, whereas if it just drags out and you're just like, I just want to go home. And yeah, for me, I can't like sit still for like a full day. Like I could never just sit out on a chair on the beach for a whole day. I feel like it would be wasted, where I need to be doing something productive or something that I perceive to be productive, as it were. I don't know. Maybe that's a character flaw. Who knows? So Zihuatanejo. Oh, I was getting to that. Zihuatanejo. I could definitely just like veg out there. Absolutely, man. Like the food, the culture, etc. So I do jiu-jitsu, and I really want to see Brazil, specifically Rio. So that's on the list. And then let's see where else here. Been there. Probably should say like random Africa safari, just so I check all the basic B boxes. I guess. Next up. Stuff and more Hot Wheels. When is the hot dish making the triumphant return, and could you do a day in the lifestyle vlog? Producer Al has been bugging me about this, but maybe, and then also maybe. I know we've considered expanding into more like life vlog stuff, except even though, yes, we do the YouTube channel, I don't want to be known as like a vlogger. You know what I mean? Where, I mean, to each their own, certainly, but I don't know, like people who put their entire lives on here, like as weird as it sounds, doing this channel, like I'm a pretty private person. Like I don't know. I certainly like just disappearing into the ether at times, but I don't know. We'll see. Dylan Sunderland, which Minnesota sports teams would you like to see a championship most, excluding the Vikes, of course? I would like to see. So the Twins got one, yes. The Wild would be crazy because, of course, it's the state of hockey. I'm gonna go with the Wolves. I just feel a basketball title here one time would do wonders for this place. Probably get themselves a new stadium built. So I'm gonna say Timberwolves. I love Timberwolves. Eric Hansen, you mentioned getting you like that tattoo. Number one, so the parameters of the you like that tattoo. I'll get one on my backside, but Kirk has to be regular season MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and win the Super Bowl. It's got to be a trifecta. Do you currently have any tattoos, and what are they? I do not. I've always thought about getting one, and always budgeted, set money aside for it. But every time I think about specifically getting it, I'm just like, this is gonna be here forever. Well, like, what if this is really stupid in 2 years? Number two, how did you get your family okay with a tattoo wager? I did not tell them. Number three, seriously, how did you convince your wife? It was omitted. Like, I feel like it would be perfectly fine. Like, if the Vikings win the Super Bowl, Kirk is Super Bowl MVP, regular season MVP. Like this channel will do so well that she'll be fine with it. Of course, like laser tattoo removal. Maybe we'll get them to sponsor next year, man. Supercore 98. How many hats do you own? Which one is your favorite? I own like 40 or 50 hats. It's kind of ridiculous. I really like a couple of those Vikings hats, except they're in my luggage right now. I like this Dodgers hat. I got it like 5 years ago. It's a really old hat, but I don't know, just like the fit. It's all good. Next up, Miles. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, would you want to be in the Viking Super Bowl parade? I'm thinking Jeromes can make a float and make it similar to King Xerxes. It would actually be pretty hilarious, except I think I get eggs thrown at me or like D-cell batteries. Nah, I think I'd just rather be in the crowd. We do some filming, although it would be friggin' cold because it'll be February. There you go. Swank's a Tiger. My dad has never been to a game at the bank. Finally convinced him to buy a ticket with me for Thanksgiving showdown against the Bills, against Patriots. Yeah, but now he regrets it, saying it's not worth the money. Can you share some words to get him pumped? How much the new stadium is? Much appreciated. Well, number one, he gets to spend time with his son, and number two, it probably is not worth the money, but it will be an experience that you and him will talk about for forever. It's like, hey, especially if it's a good game, especially if the Vikings win. It's like, hey, remember the time we went to the bank, blah blah blah, and this happened, and we beat the Patriots, and Bill Belichick was like brrr, in the post game show. Yeah, I've come to find I've certainly switched up like philosophies on stuff because when I was younger, it was all about building businesses and piling together money and blah blah blah, and I actually didn't travel a lot when. In my 20s, which it's kind of an inverse because a lot of people do travel in their 20s, but I was just focused on trying to get things set up to where things are going to be very nice, the rest of the life. But I found that investing in memories with people that you love is extremely important because that's I was going to say it's something you can't buy, but you literally do buy it. But it's something that will connect you forever. You know what I mean? Where, things like this. You just, go into the game with this kid. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. It's probably not worth the money, but you're probably going to waste the money on something stupid anyway. That's my philosophy. Tristan D. I'm a little worried that the Vikings are only beating bad teams, which is why I can't wait for the Bills game. I feel like that game will show us just how good the Vikings really are this year. Yes, that's fine. But also, even the bad teams are kind of good. Like the Lions gave the actually no, that's a bad example. I was gonna say the Lions gave the Eagles all they could handle week 1, but that's not really true. But yeah, it's kind of, well, the Dolphins started out 3-0, but that's about it. But you only play who you play, right? And the fact that the Vikings are 5-1, the fact that they only lost to the only undefeated team left, still says something. But yeah, getting to games like let's see, bring up schedule. All right, so like Cardinals actually look like they might have some life. The Bills game, yes. The Cowboys, yes. Patriots are always going to be tough. So getting into that stretch is really going to prove who the Vikings are. By the way, 4 out of 5 games at home, weeks 8 through 12. Pretty sexy. Actually, 5 out of 6, and then another 5 out of 6 later on. Vikings going to be playing at home a lot. Love it. Robert Baudette. Where do you think JJ will rank in terms of greatest Vikings of all time when it's all said and done? I think if he signs a second and third contract with the Vikings, I think he'll be number 1. And yeah, as great as Randy Moss was, he was only here, 6 years? And Chris Carter was only here, let's see, was it 90? Chris Carter's only here like 7 years, something like that, 8. Online alias. Will there be a Jerome meetup at the end of the regular season to celebrate the Vikings clinching number 1 seed in the NFC? Yes, we'll make that happen. Stefan Sadbinow. What is your favorite adult beverages? 1 straight up, 1 mixed, and 1 beer. 1 straight up, 1 mixed. Thank you. I'll hang up and listen. So the recency bias for sure, but so there's a tequila called Código Blanco. Código 1530 Blanco, I think that's what it is. But that on the rocks is fantastic. Mixed drink. So I'm trying to wean myself off of like college kid party. So I was gonna say like a Captain Coke or like a Long Island, but probably gin and tonic. That counts as a mixed drink, right? Yeah, like Hendrick's gin, tonic, and instead of lime, go with cucumber and some cracked black pepper. It's really fantastic, man. 1 beer. I'm not really picky with beer, so actually something I've been doing a lot is the amber martinis. So you take a Mick Golden and drop a couple olives in there, and maybe a little bit of Bloody Mary mix. I don't know. Just go ahead. But if I had to pick one, probably Shock Top. I always like Shock Top or Blue Moon. They're basically the same thing. Tori Hansen. What's your favorite meal to smoke in the smoker? I love doing briskets. See, I love doing briskets too so I like doing them for friends and family gatherings because it takes a lot of time. You know, brisket is also kind of spendy, but it just shows that, hey, this is how much I love you. Not the dollars, but the amount of time invested. Because I mean, a good brisket takes 12 hours, roughly. So this is how much I like you guys, you bastards. Matt Strosity. If Jefferson gets injured a couple games, can Thielen and KJ get it done? Knocking out all the wood? Yes, but knocking out all the wood. How dare you? Janky. Imagine a world where the NFL has a different country, was in a different country. What country would it be? And what would the Vikings equivalent be named? Imagine a world where the NFL is in a different country. What would the Vikings equivalent be named? I don't know. The league would be in Germany, and the Vikings would be the Americans. The Americans. White Gritty Goodman. As it sits right now, what are the top 2 positions of need to address in the 2023 NFL Draft? Well, pending what happens with Daniil, although edge rusher is pretty good. I would say interior defensive line. Maybe center if Bradbury leaves in free agency. And you can never have enough cornerbacks. Yeah. Jackson Lavin. Or actually, off-ball linebacker, too. That could be up there. Yeah. Jackson Lavin. What is harder to catch the faster you run? Your breath. Lizard Jama. What are the field conditions like at US Bank Stadium? There's been a lot of talk about stadiums should use real grass, blah, blah, blah. So they got like that high-end synthetic turf. Well, I mean, guys have obviously been injured on it, but, I mean, that's not necessarily the turf's issue. But I think it's fine. I personally think that all fields should be natural grass, but I understand that sometimes that's not feasible. J. Allen English. if they were to make a movie about an individual Viking, who would it be and why would it be Adam Thielen? I mean, it'd be Adam Thielen, right? Maybe Marcus Sherrills. Sherrills would be a good one too. Michael Miller. How many touchdowns and interception will first cousin have at the end of the season? Skull, I think 45 and 10. I'm going to say 38 and 7. Nailed it. Anthony, actually, doesn't he almost have 7 now? Some players you would trade, some players you might want to trade. Oh, at the deadline? I would trade Dalvin. I mean, if you got a McCaffrey offer for Dalvin, I think you have to take it. I would trade Dalvin. I would trade... If a team offered 2 1s for Daniil, I mean, I might have to do it. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. We're not going to be sellers at the deadline anyway. Skull, if you don't reach the Super Bowl, does Kwesi go all in for a new quarterback in this draft? Not to replace Kirk right away, but to sit behind him and learn. I think it's possible. I think the Vikings, even though they only have 6 picks in the upcoming draft, when you factor in compensatory selections, I think that the Vikings could make a push up the board for one of the quarterbacks. Maybe not Stroud or Young at the top of the draft, but I mean, there's going to be probably 5 or 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, potentially. This could be a good quarterback draft. Tom T, would you enjoy doing a Rikishi on Aaron Rodgers? I don't know what that is. I probably don't want to look it up. Gaming Code, who should the Vikings try to trade for on the Panthers after firing a Matt Rule? So not McCaffrey. I would go after Derek Brown, even though Brian Burns is an absolute stud. J.C. Horn would be so sexy too, man. I mean, come on. Like I would give up a first for Derek Brown. I would give up 2 firsts for J.C. Horn. That's a no. 21. Best Vikings rivalry outside the division. I was going to say the Saints, except that sort of waned, especially since the Vikings beat them down in the playoffs twice. Maybe the Eagles. Eagles might be ramping up again. And of course the Jets. Dale J. Hampshire, going to fill your tags this year? Hope so. Haven't so far. Ed Toro, Daniel Carlson has now kicked 38 consecutive field goals. Did you get yourself a Carlson Vikings jersey? No, but I was gonna. But then they just cut him after 2 weeks. That's a no. 21. Which team do you hate most, the Eagles or the Saints? It's still going to be the Saints. I mean, because the Eagles are whatever. They're just a better team that day. I blame that more on the Vikings. But the Saints systematically ended the careers of 2 great quarterbacks. Well, Favre played in 2010, but it wasn't the same. But they ended Kurt Warner. They ended Brett Favre for all intents and purposes. Like, I'm all for playing tough. I'm all for having fun and all that stuff. But even though every single team did it, they just got caught. Guillermo Temkit. Meme idea: since the Vikings are winning the division, take a screenshot of Jon Snow becoming king of the North, but replace his face with either a Vikings player's face, a Connell's face, or the Vikings logo, the King of the North. King of the North. What do you think? Yes, do it. Tori Hansen. If these players were WWE superstars, who would you think? Who would they be? Oh, I actually wrote this down. So Kirk, Jefferson, Kendricks, and Harrison Smith. So I was a pro wrestling fan as a kid, but I'm sort of generally aware of it now. I would say Kirk Cousins is CM Punk, but CM Punk in the UFC. How do you do against Mickey Gall? So Kirk is, even though I know CM Punk is kind of beloved, I don't know. I feel like CM Punk, he doesn't have like a pro wrestler's build. He's a pretty lean guy. Like he's not 6'6" and 260, but he still gets it done. Still succeeds, despite of himself. I don't know. That could be Kirk. Justin Jefferson would be Ric Flair, but without the woo. So just that drip. I mean, Justin Jefferson's got so much swag for days that he gives some to Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Ric Flair from here. Yeah, Woodburn. Now, he was like the son of a doctor or something like that, wasn't he? Playing the Gophers for a second. Eric Kendricks, The Rock. Yes. I feel like Kendricks would do a good job as The Rock for a Halloween costume. I think that would be fantastic. Or Maui from Moana, who was voiced by The Rock. But, yeah, Kendricks The Rock. Harrison, either The Undertaker or Bret the Hitman Hart, because, I mean, come on. Then also, bonus, Daniil Hunter, Kurt Angle, because Daniil Hunter is doing this with a broken friggin' neck. Study with Matt. Who'd be the biggest free agent we sign before the end of the season? OBJ one time. Would be kind of nice. And also, I've laid out the reasons why. I do think that OBJ and his diva tendencies would be tamped down because of the LSU support structure here. And also, he's just really good. Hadrian S. If you could hold any position in the Vikings organization, what would it be? Quarterback, head coach, GM, waterboy, nothing's off the table. Owner? All right, so, but aside from that, community engagement? I think that'd be fun because, I mean, all these other guys are going to get fired at some point. But I feel like community engagement and just finding ways to get the team and the players out in the community more and more. I mean, they do a fantastic job of it. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like that would be a fun job. Eric Rose, what do we have to do to get you to chug another Four Loko? How about I will chug the Four Loko after I get my you Vike that tattoo. Because then I'll let you get a tattoo if you're inebriated. Zach Hazlius, do you agree the Vikings need to stop playing the soft quarters defense? Yes. They basically just rush forward and every down, hope someone gets home, no blitzes. They also leave wide receivers wide open far too often. Yes, fully agree. Chad Lee, what are your hobbies? Hunting, fishing, camping. What makes you tick? So play a lot of poker, cook, just not on film. Sorry, Hot Dish fans. Do jiu-jitsu. Hunt, but I'm not very good at it. Just enjoy getting outside. Fish a little bit. I want to get more into hiking, which I determined is just basically just hunting, but without the bow or the boomstick. Yeah, but hiking interests me. Yeah. Angel Dutt Senior, I think this year's defense is underwhelming thus far. Your thoughts? Well, they're keeping points off the board, except they're giving up too many yardage and they're stressing field position too often, and they certainly could improve on that. Cameron Mansky, day in the life video, yes. Also, I mean, the Vikings are number one in starting field position and opposing starting field position, but that speaks more to the special teams than the defense. Day in the life video, maybe. Gone for days, bow hunting or rifle. I prefer bow. Elijah Alsop, how do you buy a house? Save up a little bit, make sure your credit's good, find a place that you like, put in a bid, hopefully get lucky. There you go. Chad Askey, is MCU dead or Phase 5, 6, and 11 to Phase 3? I've never really been into Marvel, so I don't really have a good opinion on that. Glenn Marshall, Minnesota, great state or the greatest state? To me, it's the greatest state. Even though, of course, we have our problems and issues, but I feel like, especially around the Twin Cities, it's a good combination of culture and city, and then also, just go outside of it, and you have great outdoor recreational opportunities. And also, even though winter sucks, obviously, I do like the seasons. Parts of Minnesota summers are undefeated. I mean, you're up at the lake. You got a big-ass campfire going. See all the stars and stuff. Fall in Minnesota is probably the greatest season of any of the seasons around the country. And I'll fight before that. But winter is what it is. Randomly generated. Eternal Packers suffering or Vikings win the Super Bowl? Well, I think that Eternal Packers suffering is coming up anyway, and the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl, so we'll just take Vikings win the Super Bowl. Chris Larson, chili with or beans, wrong answers, floor is lava. Let your kids decide the answer. So I know traditional chili, like Texas-style chili, is just meat and literally just chilies. But growing up here in the Midwest, I mean, we had chilies, we had cheese, we had celery. At crack-ass saltines. Yeah, so, I mean, I think it just regionally changed. Like, take Chinese food, like authentic Chinese food, like over in Shanghai or over in Beijing, bring it over here, and then it's not going to look anything like American Chinese food. I think that's what happened with chili. Like, there is authentic Texas chili, and then there's everywhere else chili. So, also, hey, I want to get a Texan and a Cincinnatian in the same room and have them talk about chili. It's like, it's just meat and beans. And then the Cincinnati guy would be like, we put on spaghetti, bro. It's good times. But that's it. That's bye week Q&A. You guys are the best. Skol production value.